How's it going, everybody? Great Say Geek here, and today I kind of want to talk about some of the reviews going on with Sparking Zero. I saw IGN's review of it yesterday, and the number that they gave it is the exact number that you would expect IGN to give any game that is good. Or even some games that are bad, they give the same score. But before we do that, let's talk about let's look at some other things real quick before we jump into that. Let's start off with looking at the Steam player count right now. On Steam, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, right now, at the time of this video, there's 110,340 people playing the game with an all-time peak of 122,000. Now, this is going, early afternoon on Saturday, okay? Which is incredible. For this game. I think this is the highest anime game player count that we've ever seen on Steam. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ was the second highest, which is crazy. And I'm so happy because this game is well deserving these numbers, and I hope to see them go higher. And I can only imagine what it is on PlayStation 5. I don't think Xbox will probably have it as high as PlayStation, but PlayStation's numbers on this are probably way higher. Okay, now let's go over to Metacritic. On Metacritic, now we can see IGN's score right here, the good old 7. The legendary 7 score from IGN that they always give games nowadays, and we're going to talk about that. But it is sitting at an 81. Now, it was higher. I think it's gotten lower, obviously, since IGN's score and some of the other low scores. Like, Gaming Age gave this game a 5. I don't know in what world you could give this game a 5 out of 10. But if we look through all these critic reviews, you can see some of them are 100, in the 90s. You start to get to the 80s somewhere down here. There we go, the 80s. And we kind of look, you got to scroll really far. We start getting into the 7s, the 6s. Like, guys, as someone who's played this game right now for at least about 20 hours, there is no way I could ever give this game a 6 or a 7 out of 10. In my personal opinion, let alone a 5. That is crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy to me. Now, it's too early for the user scores to really get an idea of what everybody else thinks. But if we go over to Steam, we can see on Steam that it's sitting at 94% of 17,000 reviews are positive for the game. So we can get a general idea that on Steam, people are really, really happy with this game. I mean, it's above a 90%, which is pretty crazy for any game to get that high. Usually games that get that high are really, really well done. And I agree with this. I think it's an extremely positive game. I think the game does have some issues. It's not perfect, but the issues that it does have, to me, are very, very minor in the grand scheme of the entirety of the game. So we'll have to see what the Metacritic scores end up being there at the end. Now, for perspective, let's go back at some of these older games. So on Budokai Tenkaichi 3, now this is the Wii version. I don't think there is one for the PS2. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. But we look at IGN actually gave Budokai Tenkaichi 3 an 8 out of 10. The average review score is a 72. And the general audience is an 8.8, almost a 9. And this is regarded as, for some, to most people actually, is the greatest Dragon Ball game ever made. And it was critically given a 7. Okay. Now, I think that that's wrong too. I think this game is way better than that. I don't know if it got a lower score because of the difficulty that it had. I don't know. But if we look over at the original, now this one is on PS2. You can see it's also a 72. They're both 72s critically for Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. Okay. Now the user score on this one's a little bit lower, but it is the original, right? Compared to the third one that had a lot more stuff to it. But you can kind of see that these games critically are never really super high. However, Sparking Zero critically is the highest, okay, at least comparative to the first one and the third one. We'll have to wait, like I said, to see the user score on this to see what it's like of the player base, because I think this one's the most important. I honestly really don't care what the critics score are, because I think we all know critics nowadays, you can't really rely on any scoring that they give you, because I just don't agree with most of them. Sometimes they hit the mark, but a lot of times I think it's really poor. And I think you guys as a player base leave honestly better scores or have a better idea of the what how the game is. You know, if you see a user score that's really, really low, it's probably a really bad game. Now, if we go through, you can see IGN. We're not going to react to the whole video here, but they gave it a 7. It's being downvoted pretty hard. Okay, it's got 1.7 thousand likes and 6.8 thousand dislikes. And the comments are just like going nuts, man. The comments are great. We won't read through all of them, but we've got IGN only gave this game a 7 because they probably haven't gotten past grade 8 Vegeta. Okay, where's the guy who's been doing all the videos of this game and the preview? The guy talked about it like it's a 9 out of 10. And they gave it a 7 out of 7 Dragon Balls. IGN wouldn't, I won't say it, but STFU, you guys know what that means, about this game for months, and y'all gave it a 7. A fun game with no microtransactions, 182 characters, an intense story mode that changes the original story, a meticulous training system, and an amazing graphics gets it a 7. You guys are out of your minds. Ultimate Tenkaichi got a 7.5 from IGN back in the day, but Sparking Zero is in 7. And if you guys haven't played Ultimate Tenkaichi, I never played that game because I heard it was god awful. And everything I've seen on it looks awful. So that's crazy to me. I didn't know that. These guys also gave She-Hulk a 9 out of 10. So this gets a 7, but I'm sure y'all are going to give COD a 9, even though it's the same formula for over a decade. 114,000 players on Steam disagree with the score. 7, you can go now. 7, this is my last straw. IGN is officially doesn't have credibility on my list anymore. Y'all milked the tutorial videos and finally putting out a review to say it's a 7. I see what y'all did here. So you can see there's a lot of negativity with the comments. You know, after this, IGN has no credibility. A 7 is criminal. And you know, these might be like myself. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. You know, I was gonna play this game day one, no matter what, as a Dragon Ball fan. You know, who grew up with it, who's played many of the games. I don't know if this reviewer played the originals. I don't know if he's a Dragon Ball fan or not. And so I'm a little biased, you know. But even if I wasn't a Dragon Ball fan, I think I would still enjoy this game. I really think I would. And so I think a lot of people are Dragon Ball fans. I think, you know, most people playing this game probably are. You know, if you're not into anime or you're not into Dragon Ball, there probably isn't a reason for you to play it. You know what I mean? But if you are, it's something that's probably going to really draw your attention. You know, this guy, again, this game it's at least an 8.5. And that would be more realistic to me. You know, even an 8, which probably by IGN standards is probably great, I think would be more acceptable. Like for me, if you know, I haven't done my review yet, and I'll probably do an impressions video here shortly. If I was the one reviewing this, and I had to give it a score right now, and I don't really give scores on my reviews, it would probably be like a 9.5. There are a few things that for me set it back from a perfect 10 out of 10. But like a 9 out of 10 to me is absolutely amazing. Is amazing. And we'll talk about that when I make my video on it. But a 7 out of 10 to me, a game that's just, you know, I look at a 7 as like a slightly above average, like, okay, it's good, you know, is ridiculous to me, is absolutely crazy. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure IGN gave Concord a 7 out of 10. Yeah, they gave Concord a 7 out of 10. And if you think Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is on the same level of Concord, wish it was Dragon Ball. It wishes it was Dragon Ball. Okay, in perspective, this game's like a 2. Okay, it gets points for the game maybe working. Okay, so IGN's reviews are kind of all over the place, and I get their different reviewers, their different perspectives. You know, it's got all kinds of different things, and the IGN's not the only one that does this. Like I said, you know, look, this gaming age just gives us a 5 out of 10. Like, I don't know what they were smoking, but you know, it's just weird to me. And I'll have to see what the user scores are. And let me know, guys, in the comments what you guys think about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Do you agree with IGN's? Maybe you guys are out there saying this game is the absolute worst game ever made. I don't know. But I don't think so. From what I've seen in the comments of this video and what I'm seeing on Steam, it seems like you and I all agree that this game's pretty darn good. And it's like a Dragon Ball fan's fantasy. All right. But let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how kind of ridiculous this is. And the thing is, I watched this review and he doesn't say anything necessarily super bad. Like, I think some of his criticisms maybe could have been articulated a little bit better. But after watching the review, I wouldn't immediately go to a 7 out of 10 thinking of what he's saying. But the fact that he did give it a 7 is odd to me. I feel like 7's the standard of, you know what, like it's good. Here's a 7. You know, they don't go into like details of like what would really make this a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 or whatever it is. Like I just can't see in what world that this game only lands on a 7. And IGN's going to get a lot of heat because they're like the biggest, you know, gaming platform, reviewing platform, you know, that we have. So of course they're going to have a lot more heat than somebody probably like, you know, Gaming Age, who I've never heard of. I don't know what Gaming Age is, right? So they're going to take a lot more heat from that. I've been having a blast with this game. This has been my favorite Dragon Ball game I think I've ever played. You know, Dragon Ball Fighters is good, but I prefer this type of game to actual fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken. So for me, this is my game of the year. Personally, I love this game so much. I'm excited to see what they do with it. If they add anything else beyond just characters as well. The anime music packs that I got were actually really good. The fact that they have the Broly soundtrack is crazy to me. It has been so fun. So fun. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what the user scores. You know, I'm kind of disappointed with IGN on this one. The way that they talked about it and the comment of the preview, the guy in the preview. Yeah, where's the guy who's been doing all the videos of this game and the preview? The preview made it sound like they were going to give this game like a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It was like super positive, or like you kind of felt an excitement there. And in this review, you feel like he's got a gun held to his head while he's doing the review. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like he even likes Dragon Ball. But I don't know. I don't want to harp on it too much. You guys can see it for yourselves. But I do want to hear what you guys think about, you know, your thoughts on it. If you've played it yet, if you're waiting to play it and not sure if you want to or not, just keep in mind, as of right now, I think critically, it's still reviewed higher than the OG Budokai Tenkaichis, right? Which is most people's favorite game. So if that's anything to go off of, there's a good chance based on like what you're seeing on Steam, the positivity on Steam, you're probably going to like this game. As somebody who's a big Dragon Ball fan who grew up on Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi, this is my favorite by far. It's my absolute favorite by far. So I'll have my impressions of it probably out later this weekend or early next week. I want to play a lot more before I actually do a review on it, because I want to make sure that I talk about everything the way that I want to talk about it. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys are positive about it, you don't like it, what you guys think of IGN's review and some of these other reviews, honestly. I mean, there's so many of them. But again, I don't see in what world this game makes a 5 or a 6 out of 10. But anyways, before I ramble on anymore, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I just wanted to share again my quick thoughts on this, because sometimes reviews like this drive me crazy. Seeing scores like that, I don't know what game they were playing. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.